Hello, my beautiful souls. You are listening to Tenebrisgate, and I'm your host, Ten. I just want to start off with that it's always my best intention to be sensitive and kind and thoughtful. With that said, that's not always possible. So I do apologize in advance if I ever say anything insensitive. I never mean to do it, but very often what happens when you're making these episodes is that you can't ever really fully explain yourself. It's just not possible. I have a certain deadline with these episodes. They have to be 20 minutes long. So I'm just letting you know. It's never my intention to be insulting, insensitive, cruel. The reason I'm putting that disclaimer in is we are working on this concept called right intention. It's a Buddhist concept that our lovely goddess, Kali, reminded me of. And I'll be honest, I thought I knew what she was talking about when she first brought it up to my attention. And it's not that I think I was completely wrong, but I think that because of the research that I put into furthering my understanding, I kind of realized that I didn't really fully understand it as well as I thought. It's been a while since I've done. It's been a while since I last read on the eight. I think it's called the eight. What's it called again? My brain's not letting me know anything right now. The Eightfold path, where there are these different 8 concepts that in our spirituality and in our personal lives we try to keep in mind to minimize pain, suffering, and harm to others and ourselves. Because often we're going about our lives on a regular basis, and we are faced with all kinds of circumstances and experiences, people. We may have to face tough challenges at any given moment. And so, from my understanding, the Eightfold Path is designed to kind of be a guide to support us in a lot of different things. Like, as I was looking into to right intention, I knew I needed to review once I realized I didn't have a full grasp of it. And I'm really grateful I did that, because let's kind of go over it a little bit. If I was calling it by right thought, and that's not necessarily wrong, because we do need to, when we are trying our best to have right intention, we do need to be aware of our thoughts. It's so true. We do, because that's kind of part of it, right? We have thoughts at any given moment. We do. But right intention is also to, who do you want to be? What kind of person do you want to be? Where are you going in life, right? It's, let's start off with an example, right? Let's make up an individual, right? Let's just do it. So let's give her name Sally. Sally is constantly hungry for things. She always is yearning for the next thing. She's trying to go and she wants to become a clinical director at a company at some point. Like she's in the mental health field, and she's going for her degree, right? She's doing all that work. And in her mind, she's thinking like, oh, I'm going to be so important. People are going to really listen to what I have to say. And they're going to have no choice about it, because I'm here to help them. And if they want to be helped, they have to do it my way. Can you tell me, quietly to yourself, can you tell me a little bit what you think about Sally that is the opposite of right intention? I'm going to pause. I'm going to do a pause. All right. Feel free to pause here if you want to think about this a little bit more. All right. So let's go over Sally, right? She already has a goal in her mind of where she wants to go. She wants to be a director, a clinical director, and have, from what I can tell, she probably wants control over her life and other people. She wants to be the boss. She wants to be the boss. It could be that some of her right intentions are she wants to help people. That is usually a right intention, but not necessarily always, depending on other clues. Now, what else in the descriptor did we talk about? They better do it her way, right? They better do it my way if they want my help. If they don't, I can't help them. They're not helpable. Maybe, right? She could be thinking that. If we don't do it my way, it's not going to work. And she's constantly wanting more. So she's trying to feed something. So outside of her own life, she might be buying a lot of things. She's trying to get new experiences, constantly stimulating herself. She's never quite satisfied with not having anything more. She's got to have more. Okay? From what I know about Buddhism, this is not right intention. I think she's misled a lot by her rigidity. She seems very rigid to me, and constantly trying to fill a void in herself. If I could pretend to be Sally, I'm going to pretend to be Sally a little bit, okay? Give me a moment. I'm going to go into that Sally energy. I feel like she's scared. She's scared of not having enough in her life. When she was young, there was a lot of fear around paying bills from her parents and not having enough on the plate. She was really scared of not having enough food. She was hungry a lot. And felt loss of control because her parents were constantly fighting all around her. It was very noisy in her environment too. So if she doesn't have control over her life, she feels dysregulated and helpless. So really an intention, best intention really to help Sally, I would hope would be, I need to have a better regulated state. I need to take a deep breath. I want to minimize the harm and suffering of others. I went through lack. I went through suffering myself, and I just want to make sure other people are okay. I'm going to take a deep breath though, because I know that in order to help people better, I need to help myself. So a better intention would be to take it day by day, to take a moment, to take a deep breath, to maybe help myself. There's something about right intention. It's called my stuttering's going to come in. My speech impediment's going to impact me here. But it's when you kind of absolve of something and you have less of it. In some of the articles I read, it sounded like you had to give up. It's a desire for a desire of things, and so you have to give up the pleasures of life. And one person mentioned, well, that's kind of unrealistic for us because we'd have to this, like, how are we supposed to give up work? We do need money in this society. We do need certain things. And we also too, I think culturally we're also to a very different group. And I feel like, for Sally, I think what would potentially help her is maybe not trying to absolve completely over wanting more, but maybe taking a deep breath before she presses that buy button. And take a deep breath and just, say, you know what? This cannot fix everything in my life. It is just a temporary band-aid that I am using to prevent myself from feeling the full weight of helplessness in my life. When I buy this, I'm not regulating my body. But what I can do to regulate myself is take a deep breath and distract myself for a moment away from this, and try as long as I can to buy. And I'm not saying like this is going to be the solve all for everyone. By the way, read that disclaimer. You are responsible for reading this disclaimer, okay? Because I'm not here to solve your problems. I'm only here to give you a different perspective on things, which include, utilizing Buddhism in a practical way, apparently today. Because right intention, right? We have to be aware of the things that we're desiring that may not have a positive influence on us. Like, there's a lot of people out there who have a desire for substance use, or working a lot, having money all around them, having the nicest of the nice things. Someone even, I remember reading recently how they're talking about, isn't it odd that we live in a very consumer society where when we don't have enough to breathe, and instead of just allowing ourselves to just rest our mind, if we're sitting down, we're on our phone, and if we are exercising, we're listening to music, and if we're like they're saying how we kind of like try to add things together basically, and just we're constantly consuming. And I would say like that's a fair thing to say for some of the time. I wouldn't say all the time. It's never all the time. But it was really interesting how I was reading an article and they talked about how, what was it? Well, let me give you my personal understanding of a modern day absolving of things just for now. If we're gonna like kind of minimize things, I feel like minimizing. I feel like working on less in your life, from my personal experience, cutting down coffee, which is, not really that easy, honestly. I love my coffee man, but I have this desire to consume coffee, and I know why. It's so I'm gonna be upfront with you guys. I'm currently a recovered eating disordered person, which means that one of the things that's connected to it is my bad habit of consuming coffee in the morning and nothing else. So you can always tell when I'm having a really rough time. I'll like skip breakfast and just have coffee and like consume large amounts of coffee. And that's so sometimes like what happens is like it helps fill your belly and it makes your belly warm, so you're not feeling the full pain of being hungry. And my eating disorder was never about calories. Like, I get really annoyed when people talk about the stereotypical eating disorder of anorexia, because it's stupid, right? It's so stupid because that's not everyone. Mine was always about control, and I felt like if I can control what's in my body, then I'll have more power, and people can't control me about this one thing, right? You can't tell me what to do, man, right? And that's not really right intention. Like, my right intention for health is I want to feel good, I want to feel relaxed and calm and at ease in my body. But the only way you can have a right intention and follow through with right action is actually consuming the calories you need to sustain yourself. So that means like you look around, okay, well, if I want to feel empowered, right? My right intention is to feel empowered in my life. Well, then I have to be like, okay, hey, like I'm going to pick the choices that are available to me and pick a choice and eat that, right? I'm going to consume food. So that way I can, have a regulated system so I can manage my emotions and also to handle difficult situations when they come instead of like being reactive. Because when you're hungry, there's only so much your coping skills. Eating is a coping skill, basically, because that will help you with your mood. And if you're hungry, you're going to flip out with so much more ease, right? I mean, like, it's just the reality. You can't say, I'm going to not eat and have emotional wellness. That's not how it works. No, you cannot have that right intention and then say, I'm not going to eat. It just doesn't work. So if you have right intention and you follow through with right action, you're going to be right on point. I probably had to research right action after this too, but let's go with it, right? Right? So with Sally, like if she really like wants to help other people, she has to help herself first, because that will help her be a better person. If your right intention is I want to help other people, you actually have to have a deeper understanding of other people's suffering and pain. You have to be compassionate. You want to minimize the harm towards other people, which means you can't be reactive if they don't hear what you want. If they don't do what you want. Like, have you ever worked in mental health field, right? People who are coming to professionals for help, there's so many times they'll ignore good advice, right? Because they're just looking for autonomy. They're looking to feel free. And they're not looking for someone who's going to be disapproving when they don't do the supposed right thing. So if you're going to be like, well, you didn't do it my way, so you clearly don't want help, right? That's not right intention. That is just a delusion. And actually, they talk about with right intention about minimizing and ridding yourself of illusions and delusions. That's a delusion right there, to think, well, if you didn't do it my way, you don't really want help. If you don't do it my way, I'm not going to help you. Like, that's nonsense. That's not right intention. And I'm not trying to be insensitive, but I guess I am, because it's the truth. If you have right intention and you really want to help people, you're going to take a good, deep breath when someone doesn't listen to you. You're going to take a deep breath. Okay, they probably got triggered. They probably had a moment, a tough moment, big emotions. Maybe they had a relapse of some kind, right? Maybe someone said something and it really got under their nerves and things like that. Maybe they didn't eat and they did something stupid. Okay, so take a deep breath. It's none of my business, ultimately, whether they follow my advice or not. It's okay. I'm just as imperfect of a person as they are. They are allowed grace. They are allowed grace. And actually, when I allow other people grace, I feel like I can allow myself grace. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to talk to them. Okay, what happened? Yeah, that's tough. I'm really sorry that happened. Yeah, I'm going to validate what you went through, man. Okay. And you can sometimes sneak in, like, reality testing with people, but because you have the right intention, you're going to be able to discern that moment, because ego is not going to be involved with reality testing. Because ego go like, you should tell him, like, I told you so. No, that's ego, man. Anytime, like, I told you so, ego. But if you're like, you feel like they're in a calm state with you, they're calm, they're receptive, you just know this person inside out. You know that in this moment in time, they're going to be receptive to what you have to say, and you say it, and they have that moment where, like, yeah, you're right, I think I don't listen because, I don't know, I just don't feel like, I feel like I struggle with trusting people. Oh man, that's really tough. I'm sorry that you struggle to trust people. I'm here for you. I mean, I'm never going to get mad at you if you don't do what I say. It's okay to disagree with me. I'm not going to get mad with you. Yeah? No, and whenever I didn't listen to someone and I didn't do what they told me to, they got really mad. It was really scary for me. And I think like I just shut down when you tell me what to do, because my brain is going to my parents, and it's nothing personal. Yeah, I hear you. I really do. It's nothing personal. No, because you're trying to figure your stuff out in a sea of triggers and mood swings and confusion, and you're just trying to do your best. And that's why I want to be that person you can trust and feel calm and relaxed, because ultimately I have so much belief in you. I think that you are a capable, kind person. You're brave. I think you're brave for actually being here with me right here in this present moment. I think you're brave the fact that you're willing to ask for help. I think you're brave even when you don't listen to me. I think you're the most bravest person I've ever met. But you know, if you have ego, you're not going to get that kind of conversation. You're going to probably feel stiff and angry. You're going to do a lot of head nodding. You're not going to really listen. You're not going to be attentive and engaged. You're going to be frustrated and mad. Because, you know, something I've had to work with for a long while, because I work with people still, right? And ultimately, I have to tell myself when I feel that bubbling of, why can't they do things right? Like, if they do it right, they wouldn't suffer so much. It's like, no, that's actually none of your business. That's none of your business whether they actually do the thing the right way. And that's, you know, I don't think that's really appropriate right now. I think what's more appropriate for you right now is to be kind and compassionate and patient. And I think from what I was reading about right intention is that's the whole of it, is you're trying to increase wholesome thoughts. And there was a Buddhist story where they talked about Buddha like trying to, like, you know, kind of like with a stick whack it away. That's just the short version of the story, of course. But you're like whacking away those thoughts. You're trying to be really attentive and pay attention to when they pop up, the judgments, the anger, the bad belief systems about people. You know, this, you know, I'm just trying to say this fast and quick, but yeah, like, you know, you have to be attentive to it, and you have to take that deep breath, come back to center, and say, you know what? I'm here to brew some more wholesome thoughts. I'm here to be kind and compassionate in my suffering. You know, and that means you minimize both the inside, the outside harm you're inflicting. You know? Because we all interact with each other. You're gonna think bad thoughts. You're gonna do some bad choices, man. Just saying, man. But I do have to wrap this up because these are just short episodes. They're always just short episodes. They're not really designed to... That's why in the beginning I'm like, you know, I'm gonna say something really insensitive. I'm trying to get something out fast and quick. But I'm also too, there's no way I can fully finish a thought within 20 minutes. The way I do my stuff is I'm like rambling and hoping something makes sense. And okay, maybe it's not a ramble, but it's, you know, I'm ultimately, you know, we're all learning together. We all need grace from each other. We all need compassion and kindness from each other. And the practical side of it, you know, we'll eventually, you know, like, you're going to figure it out. You know, for me, it's catching those negative thoughts. It's replacing them actively in real time with a different thought. And that means I listen to affirmations. It means I listen to songs that are supportive for my growth. That means that I'm very aware of what I'm consuming, or, well, mostly aware. And I'm also I'm taking deep breaths. I'm meditating whenever I get a chance. I'm doing yoga whenever I get a chance. I'm trying to cultivate wholesomeness in myself because I do rather like minimizing suffering in myself and other people. I feel more calm and regulated. And some of the readings I read said, that actually does happen. You do actually regulate yourself a lot more naturally so if you're doing this work. And some of you guys are going to be out there saying, I can't do that. I can't do that. Is it you can't or you won't? Or that might take more time and practice. Because I have ADHD, man. I'm not saying that all ADHD people can do what I can do. That's just my hyper-focused man, possibly. I don't know. But in my experience of having ADHD, it meant I had to learn. It meant it took a lot longer for me. It meant that I had to keep trying and trying and trying. And that means I had to kind of learn with my learning style, right? And so and again, I'm not trying to be insensitive. I'm just saying that don't think too quickly that something is impossible, because you might not be getting yourself enough credit. You may just giving yourself the easy way out when it comes to emotional growth. And with that, I'm going to let you go. Marry me, blessed to be, I'm into good health.